Howdy, Chunky. It's the voice of reason for a new week. It's Monday, November 22nd. You know, they always say it's got to get worse before it gets better. Well, how much worse can it get? It feels like this country is on its knees. The infrastructure is buckling under the pressure. We've got a Sadiq and a Boris who don't know which way to turn, and a world that is, well, protesting, a world that has had enough, and no one is listening, let alone the broadcasters broadcasting it. Well, don't you worry about that. Here at The Voice of Reason, we will continue with our 350,000 friends and family to speak the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and quite a lot of the truth that they'd probably rather I kept quiet about. Hey, not much. Here we go then for a Monday morning, and it has been a very bad weekend in terms of protests around the world. People have shown in person on the streets that they will not be dictated to in 2021. Well, who is listening? That's the question. Certainly not the BBC. They didn't bother reporting any of it. They were too busy showing the negative side of everything, and that's why we need to keep our eye on the ball. There's a lot of things going on at the minute politically that are being cancelled, like a £2 billion tunnel to Northern Ireland. That's been cancelled. And half of the HS2, that's been cancelled. Still no sign of the Heathrow runway. A lot of our infrastructure that would have kept us going for decades to come is suddenly not happening. And then we look to London, where they've now had a £4 billion bailout of TfL. That's the undergrounds, the trains and all of the public transport system, ran by Sadiq Khan. Yes, Mr. Sadiq, who just keeps asking for more money, and he says it's going to go back to the 70s. Well, how much more money do you fucking want before you sort it out? I happen to know a few people who work for TfL. You are riddled with middle managers, pen pushers and paperclip counters. Try fucking sacking them like the NHS. We've got to stop writing these blank checks to these publicly owned things that keep being saved at any cost. Let it go bust. Close down the underground. It doesn't fucking affect me. I live in Nottingham. However, there is good news if you're in Dartmoor. A train line has opened for the first time in 49 years, so bravo to them. It's a very interesting time for Boris at the minute. Could he be on the cusp of losing his grip of the nation? It seems like he couldn't do wrong for a long time. Well, now we're seeing a little other side of him, aren't we? We're getting tired of the bollocks, and we know we're not getting the real Boris. He was caught not wearing a mask on a train. He was caught not wearing a mask in a hospital, and you wonder, what do you really think, Boris? Why can't you tell us the truth and be the man you want to be? Why are you playing up to the lefties, in other words? We've got a very interesting time in terms of this country and how we're going to move forward before Christmas. They keep telling us it'll be over by March, but then again, they told us it'd be over by the summer when it started in the March. So how can we believe them? One of the big words that's been all over the press this weekend is autistic, as two big stars came out of the closet as being autistic. We'd got Mel from Des and Mel, and we'd also got Patrick, his wife, who said that they're both autistic. I think you'll find in show business a lot of people are. To be so narcissistic that you want to be the star and the centre of attention, and then you want to be as creative as these people try and be. I think you need to be a different sort of way of thinking. A lot of people think that it's somehow putting people down when you call them autistic. It's not. It's not an insult. It's just a description of their character. It's spectrum, of course. The ones to look out for are sort of the Asperger's, who are very easy to identify. They mostly live in their mother's back bedroom and are on Twitter. They say they don't like people like me and then obsess over them, and 2 years later are still watching their every word and trying to get them cancelled because they're actually in love and they can't see the difference. It's a very interesting time. I think you're going to read more and more about autistic people in the coming weeks on the back of this. There's a lot of it about, and you see it. Read a book called Loving Mr. Spock by Barbara Jacobs. You'll see those when people can't change their schedule, or they're immovable in their ways, or they've got very specific ways of doing things. Yeah, it's interesting. And it was so fascinating. Two women coming out, two beautiful women too. Very, very interesting indeed. What have we got for you then? Migrants. Well, it's not going very well for the migrants at the moment. We don't know whether they're coming or going. Well, we do. We know they're coming. But it seems to me that this week we're going to have a conversation about how we stop them coming. Basically, all the hotels are full. I will say, though, I did enjoy seeing these pictures out of Benidorm for the fancy dress parade, and apparently the dinghy is the #1 outfit. for 2021. I love that. Very good. We've sent our regards to the lady and her husband who are in the ultra low emission zone for about a quarter of a metre. They have to pay £12.50 every time they leave their house because Siddiqui put the line just in between their two gates. So when they go around the corner, they have to pay £12.50 just to live in London. Another excuse to avoid our capital at the moment. I want to say congratulations to the brilliant Mick Jagger, 78 years old. They started with their first album in 1968 and he was back on stage in Texas. How amazing is this? Just brilliant. There's a trigger warning in universities that they're not allowed to say trigger warning anymore, by the way. Can you believe it? There's a stinky place called Cottingham because it smells of poop. Apparently it's not very nice, and they're saying they want to have a lovely Christmas and it can't because they smell of shite. Which brings us on to our final story, a place full of shite, the BBC, but less shites because 50 have left from one particular department. Very interesting, one building. They're all jumping ship. It's like cockroaches leaving the Titanic, isn't it? Yes, they all rats jumping from a sinking ship. Well, let's let more of them go. Just don't bring any more. We don't need to pay for any more of these people. Your days are numbered. Stand on your own 2 feet and get rid of the licence fee. There you are. There's your morning report from the Voice of Reason. A lot happening today. I don't know where to start. Right, let's get on and do some political news next. And hope that this week we make our governments wake up and realise we won't be told what to do and when to do it. Thank you.